Today's story comes from Nyrilla, posted in the RC hole and off my chest. My husband is going through some mental health struggles at the moment. I am really trying to be understanding and supportive, but I am hitting a breaking point now. Lately, whenever I try to talk to him, he shuts me down. He puts headphones on mid-conversation and plays music, turns away from me to scroll through Facebook, or plays a game. Even when I ask him to please look at me while we are talking, he won't do it. Sometimes he even tells me, "Stop this bullshit," or "pointless," right to my face. When I try to tell him that I am not okay with this, and it makes me feel hurt, he does the same thing again. I have tried writing him messages, but he only tells me. I'm not going to read all of that. Today, when I was talking about this with him again, because it causes a lot of arguments between us, he told me he wishes he could just unalive so he doesn't have to hear this anymore. I realize he is depressed, but I basically have no way of communicating with him anymore, unless he has a good day and decides that I am worth his time for a change. Even then, he tells me I caused all of this, and it's my own fault. I am begging him to tell me what I did wrong, but he never tells me. He says I should know. I can't think of anything I did that would be this bad. I always tell him I can't change if I don't know what hurts him. He tells me I should figure it out by now. He even says I hurt him when I try to initiate a conversation. When I get more firm and insist that we talk, or tell him he can't just shut down with me and ignore me, he gets panic attacks or gets very angry. Then, of course, it's again my fault, AITA, for wanting to talk to him. Am I putting too much pressure on him? Is there anything I can do to make it easier for him to listen to me? I am trying all kinds of communication techniques, but nothing seems to work. Update. I booked tickets for my husband's favorite band for his birthday. Unfortunately, they were all sold out except for one location, Amsterdam. So I booked tickets there since we wanted to visit the city anyway. Now we are on a different city trip to Vienna, and it is not going well at all. I planned the whole trip and kept asking him what he wanted to do, but he didn't really give me any feedback. So I planned activities I thought he would like, and also some things I really wanted to do. The entire time, he has been walking after me with a frowny face. I am trying to find my way around a city I don't know, and he constantly falls behind me, so I have to look out for him too. He's mad because I walk in front of him and not with him, but I honestly don't notice him falling behind immediately because I am focused on the GPS and which route to take. Today, I asked him multiple times if he was okay and why he looked so upset. He just told me it's his face and to deal with it. I finally told him that it ruins the fun for me if he keeps walking behind me with a face like I just hit him and forced him to come with me. I told him if he doesn't like what we are doing, he can suggest anything else. He got extremely angry and told me he didn't enjoy the trip because I was with him. He insulted me, told me I am a W, extremely stupid, and have a low IQ, and he wasted his life on me. He also told me he doesn't like me anymore, and I am only with him to boss him around, and he got sick of me. He doesn't want to be with me anymore, and he told me to make our trip to Amsterdam only 1 day for the concert, instead of 5 days to see the city, because he doesn't want to go anywhere with me. I told him that in that case, I was canceling the whole trip. He doesn't currently earn any money, so I am the one paying for everything, and I am not going to let him go alone after what happened or pay so much money for a flight for just 1 day. Without me, he has no way to go see his favorite band. I feel horrible for doing that to him, but I am so hurt by what he said to me. Will I be an RC hole if I really follow through and cancel this trip? Comments. Katana 1-369. NTA. And it looks like you have 2 choices. Counseling or divorce. He told you he didn't like you anymore. He called you names. Counseling would help find out why he feels this way. If he refuses, you really need to move on. Delete it. He calls you a W, tells you he does not even like you, and you re-questioning whether you would be the RC hole if you canceled the birthday trip you paid for. What the hell? You can be serious. Travena Ice. Info. Why do you stay with him if he says such horrible things? That would be the moment I would have kicked him out of the hotel, or at least at home, and told him, good, you don't want to spend time with me. I don't have to waste mine on an unthankful husband. Goodbye forever. Update. My husband, 26 years old, and I, 22 years old, are getting a kitten. His last cat passed away very suddenly 2 years ago, and because the new kitten is also a boy, he wants to name him 6 months later. I said I would give him the upper hand in naming, but I still want a name that works for both of us. I've given him countless suggestions, but he denied all of them, even though he liked some of them. He chose 2 names, and it's going to be one of those 2, nothing else. The problem is, we are in a German-speaking country, and I speak German to everyone but him. We speak English because his German is bad. Both of the names don't work well in German, and one of them sounds close enough to an insult in German, so I don't want them. When I told him that, he completely flipped out on me and started yelling so much that he even scared the dog I am currently babysitting. I told him I would not speak to him when he was yelling at me, and even though I said he could name him, I still wanted a name that worked in both languages. Then I walked out of the room. He followed me and yelled that I always ruin everything that makes him happy, and that I care more about my German roots than about him. By then, the dog was really scared, so I told him to stop yelling immediately and look at what he was doing to her. I said he doesn't deserve to have a pet if he can't control himself enough not to scare it. I told him to please go away. He proceeded to push me, and I almost fell on the poor dog, but luckily she is fine. He then told me that if we named the kitten anything other than the 2 names he suggested, it's not going to be his cat, and he won't even look at it, and I ruined it all for him. He says it's all my fault for pissing him off, and I ruin everything for him. I've tried everything, from choosing a name related to things he really loves to names in a completely different language that will work with both English and German. He disagrees on everything. I simply want a name I can pronounce in German without feeling embarrassed because it sounds like something bad. AITA for not letting him name our kitten all by himself. Comments. Melted Welly. For the naming thing, it is very unreasonable of your husband to not even consider what you are saying. However, you have a much bigger issue to deal with. Your husband was yelling at you and pushing you. Is that going to happen every time he doesn't get his own way? What happens if you decide to have children together in the future, and he wants his way with anything and doesn't get it? You are right. If he can't control himself enough not to scare a pet and assault you, he should definitely not have a pet, or maybe a wife. Please be safe. Aggressive Cup 8452. He pushed you. Yelling and pushing are how domestic violence starts. Naming a pet is the least of your issues. Run, fast and hard. IDOWorkHereLady. Update. Edit. I can't reply to everyone here, but I know I shouldn't stay with him. I'm just really struggling because I hate seeing someone suffer. By law, he has to attend 6 hours of anti-aggression training now, and his first appointment will be today. I am also in contact with the local domestic violence organization, and if I decide I want the restraining order, they will help me with it. 3 days ago, my husband lost his temper with me so badly that I had to call the police. He tried to strangle me multiple times, dragged me through the entire house, and kicked, hit, and spit on me. The police have prohibited him from coming near me for the next 2 weeks now, and there's a case against him because I told them what happened. He is completely dependent on me. His visa is only valid because he is married to me. He doesn't have a job right now, so I am his only source of money. He doesn't even have a place to stay for these 2 weeks. He is sleeping in a homeless shelter. He has back problems, and it's cold where we live, so he is probably in pain because he has to be outside all day. The criminal case against him will likely impact his stay and his future citizenship. I know it's wrong to feel that way, but I feel horrible and very sorry for him. It wasn't the first time he hurt me physically, but I never called the police for fear of what would happen to him. He has nothing to go back to in his country of origin. I feel so bad that he might lose everything because of me. He blames me for provoking him, and maybe he's right. I want to separate from him. I'm so afraid of him and what he will do next time he gets angry. But if I do that, he is going to lose everything, and a part of me feels so guilty for that. Comments. AmITheA. It's not your fault. You did nothing wrong. BTW. May I know what caused him to lose his temper? OP. He kept listening to music at the highest volume on his phone. I asked him multiple times to please wear headphones. He wouldn't do it. Eventually, I just got frustrated, switched the music off, and took the phone. I know it was wrong, and I shouldn't have done anything to provoke him. He was on me immediately, choking me, and wouldn't stop even after I gave him his phone back. He continued to choke and kick me through the apartment, throw our wall decorations on me, and so on. I didn't want to call the police because it's kind of my fault, but it went on for almost half an hour, and I thought he was really going to unalive me this time. To be honest, I wish he got arrested. At least he wouldn't be outside in the cold. If he just had a place to stay, I wouldn't feel so bad for him. But here, they don't arrest for domestic violence. They just tell them they aren't allowed to come back for 2 weeks and let them go. I am terrified that he's going to turn up behind me when I leave the house at some point. I barely go out now. No safety 3E498. What country is he from asking the real questions? OP. Egypt. No safety 3E498. Where do you guys live? I'm sorry you have to go through this terrible situation. OP. We're in Europe, in Austria. It's okay. I am coping. I just wish he had a family or anyone to go to, because then I wouldn't be tempted to let him live with me again, just because I don't want him to be on the street. Lydia, haha. It's not because of you. He is Osif. Partners who strangle are among the most dangerous ossers out there. If a victim is strangled even once, studies show she is 750% more likely to be unalive by her osser. I know it's so much easier said than done, but maybe this is your chance to leave and put a safe distance between you and him. Edit. If you can, advise the police that this is not the first time and tell them that you are scared he will harm you in retaliation after he is allowed back. Cunning squirrel. This 100%. This man is very likely to unalive you, especially now that you've called the cops on him once. He is the source of his problems, and you should not feel bad whatsoever. You need to stay away from this man if you value your life. Mad Masturbator. OP. This is not hyperbole. This is not internet silliness. This is just plain facts. You are in serious danger with this man. He is likely just a step or two away from taking your life. The progression and timeline of what he has done to you are actually very common, and it leads to the man unaliving the spouse. Please, please, do not take the blame for this. Please seek loved ones and support him away from him. Do not ever interact with him in private. Don't even go back for your stuff. Get friends to help protect you. This sounds bad. Update. A few days ago, I wrote a post on here about calling the police on my Osif husband and feeling very bad for doing so because he might lose everything because of me. A lot of people here commented, and I am thankful to every one of them and wanted to give an update. My husband was arrested yesterday. He went crazy on me again after receiving my restraining order and threatened to unalive me or end himself if I didn't let him come back home. Regardless of this, he is probably not going to be in police custody for long. They don't take it very seriously, and one of the policemen even told me I shouldn't have gotten married to a person like this if I didn't want this to happen. I don't want to imagine what my husband will do when he gets out, because he is furious about being arrested and treated like a criminal. To him, I am still at fault for all of this, and he is telling our friends that he will make me pay. I am still struggling so much with self-blame for letting all of this happen, but I want to take my life back and be happy again. It will be a long way. I can only hope that the restraining order and the police will protect me until our divorce is through and he has to leave the country. I am trying to be careful about my every move too. Even though it's hard sometimes, I know that what is happening to him now is not my responsibility. I know I will be in a better place without him eventually. Comments. Amara Matsuya's. Your husband is the reason he might lose everything. No one else. The new is unborn. And he is a criminal. That's why he's being treated like one. Mundane Bike 912. We are never to blame for someone being Osif. Ever. That cop hole said you shouldn't have married your husband. 100% in the wrong. You need to go down to the station and complain. He needs to learn some compassion and needs some professional development. Be proactive. Get some cameras and make sure someone stays with you to help you if you can. If you can't stay at home, reach out to DV support. See if you can get some help. OP. At the moment, I am safe because he is still locked up. I requested to be informed when they let him walk free. I already have a camera set up. I can't really go anywhere but my home, but I am in contact with a local domestic violence center, and they gave me advice on how to handle a dangerous situation. I'm trying to stay safe. I live in an apartment building, so there are always other people around, which makes it easier. Apprehensive a puzzle. Oh honey, I remember your original post. Your husband tried to unalive you. Women who are strangled are 8 times more likely to subsequently be unalived by their partners than victims who were not strangled. Studies have shown, and the more times they are strangled, the greater the odds that things will turn lethal. Your husband is Osif. He is a criminal. He will end your life if you stay. Please post on Reddit so we can reassure you that leaving him and calling the police is the right thing to do. Lean on your support system. Contact the Domestic Oz hotline. Get into therapy if you can. Please, please don't go back to him. Please stay safe. I am rooting for you, OP. OP. Going back to him is no longer an option after the terror he put me through in the past 2 weeks. In my last post, I was still in denial and would consider it. But then he started sending me unalive threats, saying he will FCK me up when he gets home, and I don't deserve to live. And I am not even a person, just an Oz material to him. I gave the cops everything. This is why he was arrested. Beating me up wasn't severe enough for them. My husband contacted me before he got locked up, and he is furious and says it's just empty threats because he was angry. And involving the police is an overreaction, but I don't believe him anymore. I am already in contact with Domestic Oz services, and when he gets out, I will go somewhere he can't find